How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today I'm going to show you, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the Lamborghini section of my garage. So if you guys are new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy it. And consider subscribing if this is the kind of stuff you like to see. Now, if you're new to this series, this is part 3 of my massive garage update. This is the Lamborghini section of my garage. This is my 2008 Lamborghini Gallardo Spider, and that is my 2003 Lamborghini Murcielago. And yes, that is the right way to say it. All right, cold start in my Lambo. Let the fuel pump do its thing. Woo! Come bearing gifts. Ooh, that's a stinky exhaust. Welcome everyone to the 2008 Lambo Gallardo build that basically started my channel. I got this car in the beginning of 2018 and I love it. It is basically what blew up my channel. Now this I bought for $64,000 and it was massively fire damaged. The twin turbo setup that was completely custom was a little bit too custom and I had to redo all the custom bits because they were just so poorly done. Also, there's a ton of wiring, a ton of mechanical, and a ton of basically everything to get this thing sorted, but it looks phenomenal now. I mean, the paint just shines like, well, like new. And it runs fairly well. Now, I had it tuned by Eric at Vanquish Tuning, and it's one of my favorite cars, but there's a few issues that I need to address because I'm doing a phase 2 of this build, and yes, that does include fixing the top. Now, when I talk about phase 2, what I mean is drivability. If you notice, there's no license plate on here, and it's not for a lack of trying, it's just because I want to make sure this car is 100% dialed in. In order for you to fully register and license a salvage title car, which this car is, you have to do a few things to safety and drivability, and I have to actually get it to the DMV, and I don't really feel all that comfortable with this car driving on the road. It's fine, but I don't like the clutch. The clutch is super grabby. It's very chattery, and I want to make it so it's as much stock as possible. There's a spec twin disc clutch which holds a ton of power, but unfortunately the pedal feel is, well, there's a lot to be desired. So I'm going to modify it and probably get something a bit custom. I've been talking to the Dallas Performance guys. I met them at SEMA. Very nice guys, and they have a clutch solution that may work for this because I'm going to be pushing a bit more power. Now, I would show you the engine because that's sort of the best part about this build, but I can't because it's a pain in the butt to take this whole thing off because the top doesn't work. And you guys have been asking me about the top for a very long time, and there's a reason why the top doesn't work. I just don't know it, and I wager it's because there's something inside there, whether it's a line, whether it's a hydraulic fitting or a hose, or something's leaking and it's allowing that top not to work. So when it goes up, it just stops like halfway and then it just quits altogether. Now I've replaced every single electrical connector, every single sensor in the system. I've checked every single wire. I've made my own wiring diagrams. I've looked at the wiring diagrams and nothing works. I have the stock OEM computer, I have the diagnostic computer from Lamborghini, and nothing works. So I'm not giving up on it because I definitely want this to happen, but this is something where I need to just replace every single thing. So in the next episodes, I'm gonna be taking this completely off the car. We're gonna take all the hydraulic lines and everything from this entire back end and then replacing them and rebuilding them. So that is a massive project. Another thing I wanted to address is the turbo kit. Now the turbo kit is in here, and you can see my my little gold tape. I love it so much. But the turbo kit, let's see if you can see it. Yeah, it lives up here. We have the baller pipe, and the baller pipe is actually the issue. Now, when we originally did it in my garage back home, the V-band that we put on the turbos, it wasn't exactly centered. And what happens when that V-band, that connection between the turbo and the exhaust, when it's not centered, it allows exhaust energy to come out, and it just creates a sooty mess. So you can see the turbo here. As you can kind of tell, if you know anything about turbos, that red thing is a restrictor. Now, I was having a problem with these turbos burning oil, but it burns oil no longer, but I think it burned oil for too long and the seal is broken. Yeah, right there you can see that the oil just kind of came out of the V-band. That will all have to get redone, but the car is running for the most part pretty well, and with phase 2 means a phase 2 bump in power. This engine, before I got it, was built to a rating of 1,600 horsepower. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who needs a million billion horsepower, but I think that a number over 1,000 wheel horsepower, well, that's horsepower at the wheels, which would mean that the engine is making somewhere north of 1,200. I think that would be great, just on either race gas or E85 or something like that, and then have a rolling around daily driven tune of around 800 to 900 horsepower, which is honestly way more than this car needs. It is absolutely a rocket ship. It is crazy fast right now, and this is, I'm so excited to get back into this. Now, this looks absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to get started on it, but I wanted to bring some attention to that thing right there. That thing looks freaking spectacular, and there are some big developments in this build, and you guys will be a part of it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most expensive car I have ever owned. This thing is loud, it's ostentatious, it's just offensive on every level, and I love it. This is my 2003 Lamborghini Murcielago, and this was screen used in the last Fast and Furious movie. And if you're wondering why I have some Velcro here without a license plate, it's because my license plate fell off. And if you're wondering why I put Velcro on a license plate to keep it on, well, that was on for quite a while before it fell off, and also this bumper was $12,000, so I was just a little bit hesitant to drill holes in it all willy-nilly. But I do have a new license plate coming on. This is driven quite a bit. I do have a registration and everything, so I love driving this thing. But I want you guys to see this car. This is the $1 million show car build that I've had for quite a few months. It was debuted at SEMA, and you guys loved it. So this is actually going to be a museum quality example. And what I mean by museum quality is that I got an offer from the Peterson Automotive Museum in LA, and we are going to showcase this in a hypercar exhibit in 2020. This is big for me because I've never had one of my cars get this much attention that a museum, like a really famous museum, want it. And I'm so honored that they would want this car for their exhibit, and then you guys can see it. So this is actually going to be a photo op. You can take a picture with this car, you can check it out. I don't think you're going to be able to sit in it because the headroom is a little bit lacking, but you're going to be able to do everything else. You can check it out. You can look at the quality of my work. You can look at the quality of the Clarity Coat and the Color Recon's work and the amazing interior and the forged carbon and everything else that makes this car very special. Actually, let me show you the interior. It's special. Oh, this car is so freaking amazing. Now, there's a few things that are a little bit less than amazing. Number one is these door struts. Now, as soon as you pop the door latch, these things are supposed to just shoot up, but they don't do that. And that is because of this guy right here. And it's the same on the other side. So I have to change those so it does the Lambo door thing. Another thing on this car is the fact that when it was shooting for Fast 8, they put a not stock windshield, and you can see the not stock gap. It is not very good. So I'm gonna have to replace this windshield, and this windshield is like $5,000. So I don't know where to find this. This is actually very hard to find. You can only get them OEM, and I really don't want to pay those prices. Also, this is a panel that was broken in 4 pieces, and this was done just to get it to SEMA. So I had to replace, well, just fix this with some fiberglass, and then I just went over it with some bed liner. And you can see I got these things from Advance. They're just some universal windshield washers, and these don't fit the car at all. I have this exposed bolt because I don't have the cover for it. Those are very, very minor things that I want to do to this car just to complete the look, because other than that, this car is almost flawless. And I say almost because these brakes are very, very flawed. Now, in 2002 and 2003, the Murcielago came with these brakes. They're fine for most cars. They're probably okay. They're 4-piston Brembo calipers, and they're sized appropriately. However, they are front and rear the same size, and this car is almost 4,000 pounds. Actually, a little less than 4,000 pounds, because I did remove the front-wheel drive. I have a lighter exhaust, but still, it's a lot to ask from those brakes. So what I did is I got new ones. I got these from Mullins Auto Parts. Now, this is a knuckle from a Lamborghini LP640 with the steel rotors. It's very important that I got the steel option because they also had carbon ceramic rotors, which are way more expensive, and I don't want to go that route because each rotor is like $5,000. So I got rotors here. I actually will be using new ones because these are a little bit past it, but here are the knuckles, and all importantly, I have the calipers, and the calipers are way bigger. Ooh, look at that. That looks awesome. So this has to get painted in the same Arancio Argos as the car, and after I do that, this should all be bolt-on and then make my car stop a lot better. Now, in addition to this, I'm not only doing the brakes and calipers and knuckles, I'm also doing, I'm not sure if you can see that, the brake booster. And the booster is necessary because it is a appropriately sized booster for these brakes. It's not the same front and rear. Now we have a little bit more braking in the front, as we should. And the booster actually is the same as the Gallardo, and the calipers are the same as the Gallardo. So a smaller car has better brakes than the bigger car, and to be honest, it's actually not that expensive. Now, it is expensive in terms of brakes, but if you were to get a brake setup like this from Brembo, it would cost you upwards of $5,000, and this cost me around $3,000, which is an awesome price considering it comes with these. Now, a lot of you have been asking me about the taillights, and boom, we have some LP640 taillights ready to go in the car. Except for the fact that these taillights are probably the worst ones in the world. I bought these overseas. They were $1,600 and they were broken. I'm not joking around with you. They were actually broken parts for $1,600. And that was a steal because these usually are $5,000 to $8,000. Now, this is yeah, it's real bad. This is a homemade job, and I figured that out after I got it. So somebody had a broken taillight, and then they just put their own plastic, and they kind of made their own taillights. Isn't that grand? So I can't use these at all. Not at all. They're all, like, all the mounting tabs are broken, so these are just going to be paperweights, or if I can do something with them on my car, that'll be fine. But I basically lost $1,600, and I don't know what to do. So that's going to be it for today's episode. Actually, you know what? I forgot something very, very important. You guys didn't hear the orange Lambo start. We need to fix that. So that is going to be it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really, really excited about getting back to this and excited about you guys seeing that in a museum. That's going to be really, really cool. But in the next episode, you're going to see those things, my JDM cars, my Japanese cars. So look forward to that tomorrow. So until next time, it's me reminding you that on cars like these and all of these, you guys need to build it better. And to do that, you need to wrench every day.